Don't miss the tea. Subscribe now.
Girl, grab the bottle. No, not the glass, bring the whole bottle. You are going to need it because I am literally vibrating with rage right now. You know Mark's mother, Patricia? The Ice Queen. Well, the ice finally cracked, and I might have set the whole dynasty on fire. I need you to tell me if I'm crazy, because Mark is making me feel like the villain. We've been together for 2 years. 2 years of me playing the dutiful girlfriend while Patricia treats me like the hired help. She's that specific brand of suburban nightmare who is polite on the surface but has a tongue like a serrated knife. But the thing she hates the most, my career. You know how hard I work. You've seen me crying over pharmacology exams at 3:00 a.m. Being a CNA while finishing nursing school is physically shattering. But to Patricia, unless you're a lawyer like Mark's sister, you are trash. It's never a direct insult, just sprinkles of poison. Like I mentioned a difficult patient once and she goes, "Oh, nursing is such a sweet job. You must be so nurturing." Sweet. I was restraining a confused man, or her favorite. Well, at least you'll always have a job. Hospitals are always hiring. But last weekend at dinner, she finally pushed me too far. So we are at the family dinner. The atmosphere is stiff, white carpets, white furniture, everything breakable. Mark's dad asks me, "So how is school going? You're close to finals, right?" I barely open my mouth to answer before Patricia laughs. It wasn't a nice laugh. It was that tinkly, condescending laugh. She swirls her wine glass and says, loud enough for the neighbors to hear, "Well, it's not exactly rocket science, is it? But I'm sure it keeps her busy." Rocket science. The words echoed in my head. The table went quiet. Usually I let this slide, but something about that phrase just hit a nerve. I haven't slept in 48 hours and I just aced a pathophysiology exam that would make her head spin. I put my fork down. I looked at her and said, "It's actually pretty intense and competitive, Patricia, but yeah, I stay busy." I thought I handled it. I stood up for myself but kept it civil. But she couldn't let it go. She rolled her eyes back into her skull, and then she dropped the bomb. She looked at Mark's sister, Ashley, the attorney, then back at me, and said the most disrespectful thing I have ever heard. She smirked and said, "I just think it's funny how girls these days aim so low when they have potential." Aim so low. The sound of the record scratching in my head was deafening. I saw red. I didn't see the white carpet anymore. I just saw her smug face. That was it. I snapped. But it was that cold, calm, scary snap. I turned my whole body toward her and said, "Patricia, nursing is not aiming low. I am training to be a licensed medical professional. I am the person who is going to keep you alive when you're sick." It is weird and it is incredibly rude for you to constantly belittle someone who is working their ass off to help people. If you make one more comment, I will stop coming to these family events. Girl. The silence, you could have heard a pin drop. Patricia looked like I had slapped her. She grasped her pearls and gasped, "I think you are being overly sensitive. There is no need to be so disrespectful in my home." Disrespectful. The audacity. I didn't apologize. The rest of dinner was agonizingly silent. I thought Mark might say something. I thought, okay, here is where my loving boyfriend steps in. Nope. Nothing. We left 20 minutes later. As soon as we got into the car, I was waiting for the apology. I was waiting for Mark to say, "Wow, she was awful." But do you know what this man actually said to me? He sighs this big, long, suffering sigh and says, "I understand why you were upset, babe, but I think you could have handled it better." I almost opened the car door and rolled out onto the highway. I looked at him and said, "Handled it better. She told me I was aiming low. She called my career a joke." And he hits me with the classic excuse every spineless man uses to defend his mommy. "She's just old-fashioned. She doesn't mean it like that." Threatening to never come back was a bit much, don't you think? Old-fashioned. Being a jerk isn't a vintage aesthetic, Mark. Now I'm sitting here playing it over in my head. I feel like I was right. But Mark is acting like I'm the aggressor, like I walked in there and flipped the table over for no reason. I'm starting to second-guess myself. Was the ultimatum too much? Maybe aiming low is just how her generation talks, but the way they looked at me, like I was the crazy one. So tell me the truth. Am I the asshole for finally snapping? Because if I have to listen to one more comment about how I'm basically a glorified janitor from a woman who hasn't worked a day in 30 years, I think I might actually go nuclear. Pour the wine. I'm listening.